All right, so in this video from SuperfastCPA, we are going to cover governmental accounting, the conceptual framework, and service efforts and accomplishment reporting. Now, in SuperfastCPA fashion, this is not going to be an exhaustive, all-encompassing lecture on this topic. We are going to do it based on practice problems, and we'll walk through those and then the explanations. And this is an 80-20 approach, the most important things that you need to know about this topic. So example problem 1, which of the following is the most important objective of financial reporting by state and local governments? Is it consistency, reliability, accountability, or timeliness? Now, what will be the most helpful is to press pause and read through this, and even if you haven't done your full lesson on government accounting, think through the words, and especially these responses right here. Think about what they mean, and then make your best guess. And then that will make the explanation as we go through this make much more sense when you've really kind of tried to do your best to guess what it probably is. So we will move on now. So the solution is accountability. So GASB Concept Statement 1 states that the two most important objectives of government financial reporting are accountability and interperiod equity. Any government in a democratic society has a duty to be publicly accountable, and the taxpayer has a right to know. Financial reporting should also provide information that lets users assess interperiod equity. That means, are the current year revenues sufficient to pay for the current year services, or will future taxpayers be required to assume burdens for services that were previously provided? Statement number 1 goes on to say that effective financial reporting should possess 6 basic characteristics. Those are understandability, reliability, relevance, timeliness, consistency, and comparability. Moving on to example problem number 2. Which of the following is not one of the intended primary users of external state and local governmental financial reports? Is it citizens, government department heads, legislative and oversight bodies, or investors and creditors? Again, pause the video, read through those options, and really think about it, and just try to use common sense and think which of those would not be an intended primary user of government financial reports. All right, so we're going on. The answer is government department heads. So the GASB concept statements, they identify 3 main groups of the intended primary users of governmental financial reports. That is the citizens, legislative and oversight bodies. These would be things such as school boards. Then you have investors and creditors. These would be the parties that are either investing in or insuring government bonds, for example. Internal users, such as department heads within the government itself, they are not part of the intended primary users of the external financial reports. Okay. Example problem number 3. Which of the following source of revenue is unique to governmental entities? Is it proceeds from taxation, proceeds from grants, revenue from services, or proceeds from bonds? This one should be fairly obvious. So pause the video and just think about it if you don't immediately know it off the top of your head. Which one is unique to governments? The answer is proceeds from taxation. The power to levy and enforce collection of taxes from the citizens is unique to government entities. Example problem number 4. Which of the following is true regarding service efforts and accomplishments reporting? So that's always abbreviated as C reporting. So is it C reporting is required from entities governing 10 million or more citizens? C reporting is required for business-type governmental funds only. C reporting is required from entities governing 1 million or more citizens, or C reporting is necessary for assessing accountability and for making informed decisions. So which of those are true? So again, pause the video and think through it before you pick your answer or before we go on and reveal the answer. Think about it yourself. Read the words and use common sense to just think about what it means and which one makes sense. And admittedly, if you don't know this, this one might be confusing. So the answer is D. C reporting is necessary for assessing accountability and for making informed decisions, meaning this should apply to any government that's producing external financial, every government will be. Every government entity, whether it's big or small, it doesn't matter the amount of citizens it governs, should be implementing C reporting in their financial reporting. However, this is one of these tricky things that you just need to know. C reporting, although it says it is necessary in the concept statements, it's necessary for assessing accountability and making informed decisions. It is not explicitly required. So that can be a definite kind of a turning point on a lot of different types of questions, that knowing that it's quote unquote necessary, so it's considered almost required, but it's not formally required. It is considered voluntary. So the GASB concept statements state that C reporting is necessary for assessing accountability and in making informed decisions. Therefore, to be more complete, general purpose external financial reporting for governmental entities needs to include C information. This information most likely will be reported in a report separate from the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, or the CAFR. The assessment of a governmental entity's performance requires information not only about the acquisition and use of resources, but also about the outputs and outcomes of the services provided and the relationship between the use of resources and their outputs and outcomes. Now I've got a slide. The next slide will explain all this. By focusing on a variety of financial and non-financial measures of inputs, outputs, and outcomes, and measures that relate efforts and accomplishments, C reporting will assist users of general purpose external financial reports to more fully assess governmental performance. Just remember with C reporting, well, you should kind of understand what it is, but the little gotcha fact is that it's considered necessary, but not required. So what is service efforts and accomplishments reporting? You have three kind of areas within this. You have the inputs, the outputs, and then efficiency. So you're measuring the service efforts, then you measure the accomplishments, and then you're relating the service efforts to the accomplishments as a measure of efficiency. So the inputs are, what is the amount of financial and non-financial resources that are applied to a given service, such as dollar amount, and then the number of government employees that are applied to a project. For example, the city spent $500,000 employing 40 full-time EMTs through the year. And I realize these numbers wouldn't really match up. So then you go to the outputs. These are measuring, okay, for these inputs, what outputs are we getting, or what benefits are actually being provided to citizens. So there's kind of two ways of looking at it. The quantity of a service provided. So, for example, emergency services responded to 50 emergency calls throughout the year, or the results due to the service provided. In other words, something like 90% of motor accidents were cleared within 60 minutes. Then, as a measure of efficiency, this will always be kind of correlating dollar amounts to an output measure. This is measuring the resources used to achieve a level of output or to achieve a certain outcome. For example, the city spent an average of $10,000 per emergency call through the year. All right, now, if this is your first video or anything you've come across from us, SuperfastCPA, we are very big on, there's obviously the content, learning the content and the material, but how you study is the most important factor to passing your exams and avoiding failing sections. I just want to say that again. How you study is the most important factor to passing your exams faster and avoiding failing sections. Now, for example, I can prove this to you just by numbers you're probably already aware of. Everyone knows that the pass rates across the board on any given section are right around 50%, meaning the fail rates are right around 50%. But everybody out there that's studying, they have a review course, and they're kind of doing the same thing each day. They're trying to watch the lecture, read the chapter, go through the questions. So why does that, if everyone's doing the same thing, Why does that lead to 50% fail rates? Well, there's a huge gray area within how people actually do each of those three things. There's all kinds of little strategies within the strategy, so to speak. So we have a free study training. We call these our study hacks training sessions. These are free. You can go to superfastcpa.com/passnow or just text pass now one word to 44222 and we will send you back a link to register. These are in webinar format, so they are at certain times and on certain days of the week. There will also be a link below this video in the description to go directly to that page. And these are a 1 hour training session. What I always say about these is this is literally 1 hour, which is free by the way, that can save you months and months of time and effort and frustration, and possibly hundreds of dollars from avoiding failing sections. So watch one of those trainings. You will have several aha moments, multiple light bulbs going off as you watch these training sessions. What we really focus on is strategy, being strategic about every aspect of the study process, and we cover it all in an hour. This is just a review we got in an email. We have a ton of reviews on our site. If you go to superfastcpa.com and look around, this one is just specifically about this free hour training. This happened to be from somebody, a person named Nate as well. Want to say thank you from a fellow Nate for the free webinar. After I failed reg, I watched one of the webinars on a whim. It completely changed my study routine. I did what he suggested, studied 2 hours before work every day, 4 hours on the weekend, passed my last 2 exams, FAR and reg with 89 and 85. I'm done. So that is what you'll learn in this training session, is how to have a 2 hour morning session. And that's all you need to do with your review course on weekdays. Now that's assuming, that you're working full time. Our whole thing is solutions for busy CPA candidates. So you will learn how to have a 2 hour main session where you will get more accomplished than somebody studying 4 or 5 hours the normal way. So go to that link, go to the description below and find the link, go and register for one of those sessions, and hopefully we see you on one of the upcoming sessions. Thanks for watching.